Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. In the last session we have seen how to integrate the payment gateway using Stripe. So now let's see, in this session we will be seeing creation of user and login, register and login routes we will be seeing in this one. So after this one we will be integrating the client side changes. So let's see by creating registration of the user. So first we need to create one file for the HTTP statuses. Okay. So inside the config HTTP status.ts. Okay. Now let's add export const success HTTP underscore success, which will give 200. And next for the bad request, export const HTTP bad request, which is nothing but 400. And another one is unauthorized, export const unauthorized 401. So we can import these status codes inside the any route. So now let's create user route. Inside the routes folder, user dot route.ts. Okay, now we have successfully created the user route. Let's import this route inside the server.ts file, which is the main file. Let's export this one, import. So here you can see how we are importing, and we will be creating this one as well, like JW token. We will be generating the JW token, and the secret key we will be using in this one. So const router equal to router. Let's set up the basic things. Router dot get router dot host for the registration slash register, and we will be using the async handler. Import async handler from express async handler. Okay. Async handler, use async keyword, take request comma response. So now what we can do, this is the register route. Okay. We need to install JSON web token and the bcrypt.js. So let's install those two things. Let's navigate back to server folder, npm install bcrypt.js JSON web token, so that we can able to generate the token and send it back to the client. And in the same way, bcrypt.js is used to encrypt and decrypt the password. So while saving the database, we don't want to save it in the plain text, so it has to be encrypted format so that it can be secured. So we can see these two packages are added to the project. Let's go to the package.json folder file and see here we got the bcrypt.js and the JSON web token. Now let's go to the user route.ts and import those things. Import bcrypt from JS. Okay. Now import JSON web token. Let's make it as JWT. Import JWT from JSON web token. So now let's save the file, and it will be asking for the types again. See here, you can see it is asking us to install npm install types as for begin. So what we can do is we can install the missing types. So here in the same way, so let's copy this command and enter the same thing into the terminal so that it will install the types for that. And then same way this one. Now you can see JS has been, the error has been gone. Now if you do for the same JSON web token, let's copy the same thing for JSON web token and paste it here inside the terminal. So it will install the types for the JSON web token as well. So the error has gone. Now we have created the user route successfully. Let's add the model for the user. So let's create the user.ts file inside the models. So first thing what we have to do, import schema model schema from Mongoose. So we have imported the model and schema. Let's create the interface for the user. Export interface iUser. So let's make it as this things. First name string, last name string, email, which is also type of string, password string. So let's take one more attribute, is admin, is a kind of boolean, and address string. So we have successfully created the user interface, and you can add one more thing here, token, which is also type of string. Now we need to create the schema. So export const user schema equal to new schema. The same way how we have created schemas for the order and food model. Okay. Now so let's take first name, which is a type of string. So just keep in mind we need to use capital letters for the schema. S should be capital, and required to. So let's make a copy of this thing and paste it multiple times so that we can easily edit this thing. So let me copy it from multiple times. Okay, first name, it should become last name now. Last name and email. First name, last name, email, and the address. What else? Password. First name, last name, email, address, and password. What is left is admin. We can differentiate the logged in user whether he is an admin or general user. So we have created the schema, and let's add the virtuals. let's take one more object. So in this one, two object will be virtuals 2. Next, to JSON, and also add the timestamp. Now create the model, export const user model, type of model, and it will be users. And now we need to pass user schema, and we can also give the type for this one a user. So we need to export these things, and we can import this in the user router. Now let's go back to the user router. So we need to import these things. Import user model in the user. So we successfully imported this from the user model. Now let's get the request from the client. So const new user, we'll take one variable const new user equal to request dot body. So we can get the user in this way. So new user we got. First of all, we need to create the user collection. So let's go to the MongoDB compass. So here you can see we have two collections, food and orders. Now let's create user collection here. So create users collection. Now we can go back to user route. So we got the request. Now we need to check user is already present in the database or not. So let's check const user equal to, let's find this one, await user model dot find, and we need to pass the email, new user dot email. So this will give us the whether the user is present in the database or not. Here we can also use, instead of find, we can also use find one. Let's modify that one, find one. So which will give us the first results if the email is matching with the database. So we are able to successfully compare this one. Now what we can do is, as we are able to get if the user is present inside the database, we can return it from here itself. So let's send rest dot status as a bad request. HTTP bad request, send, and message will be user already exists. Please try with the different email. So we can return this message to the user. So, and if not, we need to create the user into the database. So see here, and we need to encrypt the password. So let's take one more variable, hash password. equal to, so we have imported the bcrypt, right? Bcrypt dot hash password. So new user dot password, right? So which will convert it into the encrypted password here. So what we can do, we got the password in encryption format. Now let's assign to new user dot password equal to hash password. Here we got the hash password. Now we can able to create the user. Const, let's name this one as insert user equal to await user model. You can use this one, or now let's do this insertion in the different way. We have used create, right? Now we can use in another way, new user model also we can use. So for example, new user model. So here we can mention in this way. And see, const, so we need to pass the new user. So in this way also we can able to insert. Now const db user equal to await insert user dot save we can use. So in this way also we can able to insert the user. So here we can see in the previous routes we have used the create. Now here we are using the little different. Now send the response to the client. Rest dot send rest dot status we can set, which is http success send. So we have to generate the token, right? So you can pass generate token. You can also use new user. So you need to pass the new user to the generate token. So let's create generate token method. Export const generate token, which will be accepting user type of iUser. So here you can see so here we have created the generate token function. So we have created generate token function. Let's leave it here. Okay. Now what we have to do, we need to generate the token. So as we have imported the JSON web token, so here const token. Okay. JWT dot sign method we can use to generate the token. So it will be having couple of parameters. So let's add those things. So for token we can use multiple combinations. So we can use like user dot email and it's one other thing. So here we have used user dot email. We can also use any combination of first name last name. So name you can use first name user dot first name. So we are using these two as a combination, and we also need to pass the secret key. So here let's say secret key will be my name Srikanth, and we have to give the expiry. So expires in let's give it for 20 days. So this token will be expires within 20 days. Now we have to return the response. So let's return. So username will be returning the username. Let's return all of these things. First name, user dot first name, last name, user dot last name, email. Just I'm returning all the attributes. Is admin, user dot is admin. So whatever we have taken, I'm returning all of these attributes. And if you want, you can return password as well. So no need of this exploring this password. Okay. Here we have successfully created the register route. Now what we can do is export this route first. Export default route so that we can import to the server.ts file. So here see what we have done so far. So we have imported the bcrypt and JW token. We have installed and we have imported, and we are before inserting the user into the database, we are just checking whether this particular user is already exist in the database or not by using find one. So let's see by importing it in the server.ts file. So let's go here and see import user route, import router from routes slash user route. Now register the same app.use API slash user, we can give user route. So let's test this thing, creation of user inside the postman. Now let's open the postman to run this endpoint. So here we are making the post request. Let's make it post, and now this is the endpoint, right? So let's go to the body and make this one as the raw.json. Need to give the first name. Let's give Srikanth, and last name the email will be, let's give @gmail.com, and for now give the password same. Password will be and address, let's give HID. What else? Is admin. Let's make this one as true. So this is the request we need to pass. Let's hit the send button. See what we are getting error. User validation failed. Cache string to promise. Let's go to the VS Code again. So what is happening here? Okay, so we forgot to use await for this hash password. Let's run it again. The server did. Okay, they will connected successfully now. Let's click one more time. See if we got the response. Whatever we are returning, first name, last name, email, is admin from the token. So we got this response. And if we go to the MongoDB compass, let's refresh this users table. Now user got inserted successfully. See, let's try one more user. Name, rename this one to Guna, and now try to hit the save button again. So it is also inserted successfully. Now go back to compass. See, the user also created successfully. And if you observe, password is in encrypted format. Now we have successfully created the registration of the user. Now we will be seeing login route. Let's see. So let's create export by router dot host. Let's name this one as /login. Use async handler, async keyword, and request comma response. So we have to create the login route. After the user has been created, we need to check for the login. Okay, now const email comma password from the request.body. And we also need to check whether the user is already present, whether the user is valid user or not. Let's see. So we got the email and password. So let's check user is present in the DB or not. Const user to await. You can use user model dot find one. We'll check with the email. Okay, and you can mention email. Otherwise, as it is the same one, right? So email and email, you can make it only email. So now if the user is present, user present, so we can check for the password. So how we can check the password? We have encrypted the password, right? So in the same way, user existed, user exist, and we compare bcrypt dash compare. We have one method compare. So let's use await keyword bcrypt dot compare, and let's pass the password. So what is the first password we need to pass, which is from the database which we got, user dot, first one is this password comma, and we got the user which is exist from the database. So user dot password. So here we are comparing the password. First of all, we are checking whether the user is exist in the database or not. If the user is present, then we are comparing the password. Now let's return the response. If username and email and password are matching successful, like we can send the response. So what we can send, we can use the same generate token. So generate token, here we can pass the s.send generate token, we can pass the user. See here what we got, user, and it will be returning us these things. So whatever we got the user from the database, we are passing that user here, and it will return first name, last name, email, and is admin. So if the user is not exist, we have to send the invalid credentials. So let's send that one as well. So add the else press dot send status. You can use HTTP unauthorized. We have created this status, right? Port const. We have not added the HTTP prefix. HTTP. So here, let's copy that one. Let's import. So we need to send message. The response invalid username, email, or password. So we can send this. So let's see this in the postman by sending the login request. See here we got some response error. What it is saying? HTTP access we are generating one. We are sending HTTP unauthorized. Let's see what is that issue. It is because of this we have not saved this file HTTP status constant file. So now I have saved this one. It's running successfully. Now let's go to the postman to verify this login route is working or not. So let's take new tab. Just copy this endpoint, paste it here. Instead of register, we need to use login and make this one as the post request and body tab. So here let's copy this username and password. So email and password I'm sending. See, now hit on send button. See, we are able to log in to the successfully. So it is returning the user details. Let's give some wrong password here and try what we are getting. See, we are getting invalid email or password. So it is working as expected. So let's remove the H and give the right password and hit set. So here you can see login route is working as expected. So we have successfully created the register and route, login route successfully in this user route. So what we have done so far, we have to create the user model and we need to create the user route. And what we have done, we have installed that bcrypt.js and JWT to generate the token as well as the encryption of password. In the coming sessions, we will be integrating the client-side changes and we'll call all of these endpoints from the Angular application. So thank you guys for watching and we will see in the next session.